What's up, gamers? Red Dragon here, and we are covering the latest news. So we've talked about Sony and their financial struggles as a whole for the company. We've talked about how PlayStation doing really well, selling good, but Sony as a business does a lot more than just PlayStation, and they've been struggling for several years now. So I've mentioned this before and talked about how it works, but I'll go over it real briefly for those of you who may be new. So every financial year, every business puts out estimates as to how much money they think they'll bring in and how much money they expect to lose by having to do things by, reinvesting money back into producing products or research and development, whatever. So they put out these estimates for the stockholders, for the investors. And so investors then get upset if the company's estimates are way off base from what they expected. So Sony has already made several revisions for the previous financial year, for 2013, and the end financial results are going to be revealed on May the 14th. So here we are 2 weeks away from the financial results, and Sony has, for the third time, cut its forecast for its profits and its losses. So originally, back in May, they told investors they planned on having an operating profit of $230 billion. That was then cut to $80 billion, and now it's cut to $26 billion. So now they're expecting an operating profit of $26 billion, which is about $254 million. They've also widened the annual net loss estimate to 130 billion yen. That was up from originally 110 back in February. So the reason for the cuts, there's a couple of reasons. One, Sony says that people are not buying as much physical media like DVDs and Blu-rays, especially in places like Europe. This is something we've talked about for years on this channel, how digital is going to be the future. People are going to be buying less and less physical media, and that is going to continue. We've also talked about a few months ago how Sony decided to get rid of its Vio, the PC brand that they have. So whenever they announced that they were getting rid of that brand of PC, they said people really stopped buying the PC. So they said sales were actually lower than they anticipated because once they announced that the brand was going away, people stopped buying it. Imagine that. So, of course, this has got a few investors quite upset, especially with the CEO who once was the head of PlayStation. He's been at the helm for a couple of years now, but some people still aren't happy with the progress being made. Here's a few quotes from analysts who spoke to Reuters and the Wall Street Journal. One said, "To be honest, I really wonder if he's got a grip on what's going on with all his businesses. Cutting forecast at this time, are they trying to hide something or have they lost it?" Another one said, "It is another major letdown. The contrast is stark with Sony anticipating a bigger loss while other companies are starting to enjoy the fruits of their restructuring measures." And another one said, "It's still unclear how they're going to create revenue going forward." So, of course, Sony has invested for years in all these electronics. And, they've had some big names come out there. The Walkman, of course, was one of the big ones. And a lot of investors are wondering if Sony can ever reach that status once more because so many more players are now in the game. And so Sony is actually trying to branch out. Just a few weeks ago, they announced that they are entering the real estate brokerage business. And I don't know if investors were too happy with that because stocks slid 3% once they announced that statement. So, still, PlayStation doing very good, but even though a lot of people think that, PlayStation's making all this money, you still got to think, as a big business, it takes a lot of money to make money. So this money that PlayStation gets, from selling the consoles themselves, it's not money they can just pocket because they have to make more games. So they have to pay developers, they have to do more research and development, and they are into projects like Project Morpheus and to who knows what else they've got going on, because I'm sure that's not the only thing they're working on. And so then again, you've got marketing, and so a lot of money is invested, and of course, servers, everything else. So it's not doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world, but Sony, again, for the third time this year, cutting its forecast for its profit. And if you want to read more about it, links down in the description box. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. Stay tuned. We'll talk more about it probably on May 14th when we get the full numbers. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.